In this module, we will explore how to customise and manage our notebooks. We can make the notebooks fit our purpose in a number of ways. We will look at how we can change how a page looks by selecting an array of page colours and different options for ruled lines, along with how we can set these as defaults. We will look at how to set a page as a template page for a section, as well as how to zoom in and out of pages so that we can see all of the content on a page in one screen. This is useful if your content goes over a standard page size. We'll go through how to make OneNote appear in light or dark mode so that you can choose what suits you best. We will explore the benefits of giving your notebooks personalised nicknames and how to colour code them as well. We'll find out how to turn on page previews to give you visual cues for the content of pages. In terms of managing our notebooks, we'll explore the power of the search tool to find content in pages, sections and notebooks, and find how to access a list of pages we've visited recently. An important aspect of managing our notebooks is making sure your changes are syncing and saving to the cloud. This is particularly if you are working on a notebook collaboratively, but also if you are working across multiple devices. OneNote is such a powerful tool for collaborating. We'll look at how you can share a notebook to work with others. If you need to print a page, section or notebook, we'll look at how to print to a physical printer as well as printing to a PDF. At the end, we'll see how to find help and how to use the Tell Me What You Want to Do function. Let's start by looking at changing the page background. If we navigate to the View menu on the ribbon at the top, we can see the options for page colour and rule lines. If we choose the page colour button, we can see a palette of pastel colours, and if we select the More Colours option, this gives us a wider array of colours to choose from, and we can select from different palettes there. This can be practical to make pages more accessible, and so what we're going to do is we're going to select a blue background here, and we can see that it changes this page. We can also choose to have lined pages and squared paper. So we're going to select the rule lines. So we have a range of different sizes, and so we can choose narrow paper, wide ruled for instance, and different squared grid paper as well. Let's go ahead and select the medium grid. From that menu you can also choose to always create pages with ruled lines. This will become the default across all of your notebooks open in the Windows 10 app. If you want to make it the default for an individual section, or if you want to have a particular colour as the default, first change the page background and then right click on the page and choose Set as Default Template. From that point forward, every new page in that section will have the background you have chosen. You might have a page that you want to use as a template for a section. You can use the same workflow to make that page the default for the section. Let's go over to our teaching admin page, and we can see in our parent consultation notes we have a template here, and we can do the same thing as we did with the squared paper. We can right click and choose Set as Default Template, and then every new page will have that template as well. On the View tab we have the option to change the view of the page. We can zoom in and out, as well as fit the page to the screen and reset it to 100%. If we look at this page, we can see that there is content off screen. If we choose the Fit option here, we get to see all of the elements on the page. This can be really useful if you've got lots of collaborative work happening on a page, or if you've got a wide range of student work on a page as well. Let's now have a look at customising OneNote in general. Firstly, we can change the colour theme to either light, dark, or to match your Windows 10 settings. So we're going to click on the three dots here, choose Settings, and then choose the Options. At the top we can see that it says Colour, and we can use the drop down menu to select the option that best suits us. Also within the options, we can turn on page previews, so that we get to see the first line of text and a small thumbnail of the first image, and that will appear in the pages list. So we're going to toggle this switch, and then we get to see the images appear there. There are other ways you can customise your OneNote experience through the options menu, including changing the default font and size, as well as proofing and autocorrect settings. If you have multiple notebooks open, you may want to make them easier to navigate. Two options will help with this. First, you can give your notebooks nicknames. This is particularly useful if you teach classes with similar names, or your classes have complicated codes because your teams were created using codes from your school information system. The nickname will only appear for you in the Windows 10 app, and this will not affect how others who have access see the notebook name. To give your notebook a nickname, right-click on the name of the notebook, and then choose the nickname notebook option at the top, and you can just give that an alternate name. You can also colour code your notebooks in the list. Again, you need to right-click on the notebook name, and then choose notebook colour, and then you can colour code accordingly. That can be really useful to colour code different year groups, or to colour code your class notebooks in a different colour to your admin and your non-teaching notebooks. Let's go ahead and change the colour here, and we can see that appear in the list. Using the navigation panel on the left hand side of the notebook, you can easily search for content on a page, in a section, a notebook, and across multiple notebooks. Click on the magnifying glass, and then you can see that you can search based on keywords, any tags that you might have used like to-do tags. The search should then return relevant results in the list. So let's go ahead and do a search for SEL, and we can now see we've got our list of pages here, and so we can click between those, and if we want to see any tags, we have those there as well. From the navigation panel, you can also find a list of recently accessed pages. Just click on the clock icon, and what we can also do is we can filter the search now based on whether we want to look across all notebooks, the current notebook and the current section, and we do that just by clicking on the drop down, and then we can see current section, notebook and page, as well as all notebooks. In OneNote, changes you make are saved to the cloud constantly when you have a live internet connection. If you are working offline, the notebook will hold the changes ready to sync to the cloud-based servers. You can check if the notebook is synced by looking for the cloud icon in the top right hand side of the screen. If the icon has a tick, that means the changes have been synced. If you want to manually push a sync of a notebook, you can do that by right-clicking on the notebook name and choosing sync. From there you can choose to sync the current notebook or all notebooks that you have open. If you have a personal notebook that is saved in your OneDrive, or a notebook that you want to share from SharePoint to somebody outside of the current SharePoint members, you can click on the share button on the top right hand side of the screen. This will bring up the dialog window for creating and generating that sharing link. You can choose what permission the person has by clicking on the option here. So it says at the moment anyone with the link can edit. If we click on that, we can see that we can choose different options, people in our organisation. We can generate a link for people who have existing access, and we can give particular people individual permissions to access the notebook. Those permissions can be view only, or we can allow editing. And we can also set an expiration date and a password for access to this notebook. From here we can add in a person's email address or a group email, send a message. We can either send that as an email link, or we can copy a hyperlink that will give access to the notebook. If we just want to send a copy of this particular page, we can choose the send copy of page option at the bottom. If you want to see who has access to your notebook, you can click on the three dots here and choose the manage access option, and that will show you who has access here, and you can then edit and change that as you need to. If we want to be able to print to a physical printer or a PDF, and that can be a page, a section, or even the whole notebook, we can do that by clicking on the ellipses at the top and choosing print. We can then decide to print our page here, and we can choose whether it be a PDF, we can print to a physical printer, and we can also add in any extra printers if we're not finding them in the list. We can choose whether we want the current page, the section, or the notebook, and we can choose things like the orientation and the scaling. So we can decide if we want this to fit to one page or if we want it to be the actual size. Once you're ready, click on the print option, and then you can either print that, as we said, to a physical printer, or if you print it to a PDF, you can then save that wherever you want to save it. The last thing to look at is the help options. So you have the help at the top here, and you can see that you've got options of things like showing training and showing what's new. So any new features that are coming in, you'll be able to see those from here. If we're looking for a particular feature or a particular setting and we're not sure where that sits, we can use what's called the Tell Me What You Want to Do function to help. So we need to click on the little light bulb icon here, and that's going to bring us up a search, and we can then search for the setting that we're looking for. So for instance, if we can't remember where ruled line pages sit, we can start typing in rule, and then we can see the list of different options here, and we can just choose that then.